The name Jeffrey Epstein continues to cast a long, dark shadow over American society. Even today, on July 31, 2025, years after his death, the case remains a raw and open wound. The public's fascination is not just about the grim details of his crimes, but about the powerful people connected to him. Epstein was a wealthy financier who moved in elite circles, counting politicians, business leaders, and even royalty among his associates. His story is one of immense wealth and influence being used to exploit and abuse young women and girls for years. The questions that linger are not just about his guilt, but about who knew, who participated, and who helped protect him from justice for so long. At the heart of this enduring saga is a sex trafficking network that operated in plain sight. Epstein, with the help of his accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell, preyed on vulnerable young women. Maxwell, now serving a 20-year prison sentence for her role, was convicted in 2021 for recruiting and grooming victims. Many of these crimes took place at Epstein's lavish properties in New York, Florida, and his private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The case became a symbol of a justice system that seemed to have one set of rules for the rich and powerful, and another for everyone else. His death in a federal jail cell in August 2019, officially ruled a suicide, only deepened the public's suspicion and fueled countless theories of a wider conspiracy. The narrative took another tragic turn earlier this year with the death of Virginia Giuffre. Giuffre was one of Epstein's most prominent accusers, a brave voice who fought tirelessly to expose the truth. She alleged she was trafficked by Epstein and Maxwell, starting when she was a teenager working at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. Her death in April 2025 was a devastating loss for the community of survivors and a somber reminder of the lasting human toll of Epstein's abuse. Her story, and the stories of countless other victims, are the reason why the demand for full transparency has only grown stronger over time. People want justice not just for Epstein's crimes, but for the system that allowed them to happen. The files associated with Epstein's criminal investigations are seen as the key to unlocking the full story. They are believed to contain names, details, and evidence that could implicate some of the world's most influential people. For many Americans, these files represent more than just a list of names. They are a test of whether the nation's institutions are capable of holding the powerful accountable. The public's relentless interest is driven by a simple yet profound demand: the truth. Until those files are fully released and the complete scope of Epstein's network is revealed, his shadow will continue to loom, feeding a deep-seated distrust in the very systems meant to protect the public. The Epstein case has erupted into a major political firestorm in 2025, pitting the Trump administration against Senate Democrats in a high-stakes battle over transparency. During his 2024 campaign, President Donald Trump made a clear and repeated promise to his supporters: if elected, he would declassify and release the Epstein files. This pledge resonated deeply with a public hungry for answers and suspicious of a government cover-up. However, months into his new term, that promise remains unfulfilled, creating a credibility problem for the administration. The public's patience is wearing thin, and the pressure from political opponents is mounting, turning the files into a volatile political issue that dominates headlines. This tension reached a boiling point just yesterday, on July 30th, 2025. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, along with every Democrat on the Homeland Security Committee, issued a formal demand to the Justice Department. Citing a rarely used federal law, they have requested that Attorney General Pam Bondi turn over all criminal investigative files related to Jeffrey Epstein by August 15th. This move significantly raises the stakes, transforming a political promise into a legal and procedural showdown. The Department of Justice has confirmed receipt of the letter but has yet to state whether it will comply, leaving Washington and the nation waiting in suspense for the administration's next move. Attorney General Pam Bondi has been at the center of this controversy. Shortly after her appointment, she made a bold claim, stating that the infamous Epstein client list was sitting on my desk right now to review. This statement electrified the public but was followed by a series of confusing and contradictory actions. In May, reports surfaced that Bondi had told President Trump his name appeared in the files, a claim the White House quickly denied as fake news. Then, in a move that sparked widespread backlash, the DOJ announced that no official client list exists and that no new charges would be brought. This has led many to question the administration's true intentions and whether they are protecting powerful interests. Instead of a full release, the Trump administration has been accused of stalling and offering half measures. The Justice Department has recently asked federal judges to unseal grand jury testimony from the Epstein and Maxwell cases. While this may provide some new information, critics argue it is a far cry from the comprehensive case files that were promised. This approach is viewed by many as an attempt to appear transparent without actually revealing the most damaging information. The gap between President Trump's bold campaign promise and his administration's current actions has created a political vacuum, filled with public anger, suspicion, and a growing demand for real answers. The American public has reached a rare and resounding consensus on the Epstein files. They want them released. Polling data from July 2025 paints a clear picture of a nation united in its demand for transparency, cutting across all political divides. A recent Washington Post poll found that an overwhelming 86% of Americans support the full release of all government files related to the case, with a powerful 67% feeling strongly about it. Similarly, an Economist and YouGov poll showed 79% in favor of full disclosure. This is not a partisan issue, it is a national one. Democrats, Republicans, and independents alike are joined in their belief that the secrets hidden within these files must be brought into the light. Despite this widespread agreement on releasing the files, public opinion is sharply divided when it comes to President Trump's handling of the situation. The same Washington Post poll revealed that a majority of Americans, 58%, disapprove of the way the president has managed the issue, while only 16% approve. The disapproval is nearly universal among Democrats, 91%, and strong among independents at 63%. Even within his own party, President Trump's support is shaky on this topic. Republicans are split, with only 38% approving of his actions, while 24% disapprove and another 38% remain undecided. This shows that even many of his own voters are growing impatient with the broken promises and delays. Furthermore, the public is deeply cynical about what the files contain and why they are being withheld. Most Americans believe the documents hold embarrassing, if not criminal, information about a wide range of powerful figures. According to polls, 84% of people think the files would be embarrassing for billionaires, 66% believe they would be for prominent Democrats, and 61% think they would be for Donald Trump himself. This widespread belief fuels the suspicion that the delay is not about national security or procedural hurdles, but about protecting the reputations of the well-connected. The public perception is that the cover-up is designed to shield elites from accountability, regardless of their political affiliation. This deep-seated skepticism extends to the official narrative surrounding Epstein's death. An astonishingly small number of Americans, just 15%, believe the official ruling that he died by suicide. In contrast, 44% of the public believes he was murdered to prevent him from testifying against his powerful associates, while another 42% are simply unsure what to believe. This profound distrust is a key driver of the demand for the files. Many feel that if the government cannot be trusted to tell the truth about how a high-profile prisoner died in federal custody, it certainly cannot be trusted to voluntarily expose a conspiracy involving the global elite. The public is no longer willing to accept the official story. The persistent demand for the Epstein files is about more than just morbid curiosity. It strikes at the heart of the American public's relationship with its government and institutions. For many, the case has become a litmus test for the principle of equal justice under the law. The core belief driving this movement is that a powerful network of individuals has, for decades, operated above the law, shielded by their wealth and connections. The unreleased files are seen as the final piece of the puzzle, the evidence needed to prove this, and to finally hold these individuals accountable. Releasing the files is viewed as a necessary step to restore faith in a system that many feel is broken and biased in favor of the elite. The suspicion of a cover-up is now mainstream. An Economist and YouGov poll found that 67% of all Americans, including a majority of Trump's own voters, 59%, believe the government is actively hiding evidence in the Epstein case. This sentiment is not born from fringe theories, but from a long and frustrating history of perceived injustices associated with the case. From Epstein's lenient plea deal in Florida in 2008 to the mysterious circumstances of his death in 2019, the official handling of the case has been plagued by events that stretch credulity. The government's failure to provide clear, convincing answers has created a vacuum that is now filled with profound distrust and suspicion. Key figures in this saga continue to fuel the public's desire for truth. President Trump's past association with Epstein, which he has tried to downplay by claiming they had a falling out, remains a point of intense scrutiny. The tragic death of accuser Virginia Giuffre, who was first connected to Epstein at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort, has only amplified calls for a full accounting of that relationship. Meanwhile, the conviction of Ghislaine Maxwell confirmed the existence of a sophisticated trafficking operation, but many believe she could not have been the only accomplice. The public wants to know who else was involved, who funded the operation, and who benefited from it. Ultimately, the fight over the Epstein files is a fight for the soul of the nation's justice system. It is a battle between the public's right to know and the powerful's desire for secrecy. For millions of Americans, the release of these documents is the only way to heal the deep wounds of this scandal and begin to rebuild trust in their leaders and institutions. Until every name is known and every crime is exposed, the questions will linger, and the shadow of Jeffrey Epstein will continue to serve as a dark reminder of what can happen when power goes unchecked. The public is watching, waiting, and demanding that the truth, in its entirety, finally be told.